News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening.
For more than 2 decades, Peter Jennings was the urbane face of one of America's most watched newscasts. But last April, Jennings announced he was battling more than a deadline.
As some of you now know, I have learned in the last couple of days that I have lung cancer.
An epic career was coming to an end.
Good evening, I'm Baden Langton. And Peter Jennings for CTV National News.
Peter Jennings was just 24 years old in 1961, a high school dropout. But this young man from Toronto, with the silky voice, James Bond looks, and appetite for hard work, seemed an ideal choice to anchor CTV's nightly newscast.
On the Front de Libération Québécois.
4 years later, Jennings became anchor at ABC News. But critics complained he was too young, and soon he was reassigned as a foreign correspondent. That job was a perfect fit. Jennings perfected his calm, sophisticated style and became a true expert on the Middle East. As his work won awards and praise, he always gave the credit to his Canadian upbringing.
I also think there's an undying Canadian fascination to see and participate in the rest of the world. And so I think we bring up a whole lot of enthusiasm with us.
I want to say something about the way Peter felt about Canada. This was a country that he loved.
Peter Jennings is inside the village.
His big break as a foreign correspondent came at the 1972 Olympics in Munich. Jennings spent hours on the air reporting live on the hostage-taking of Israeli athletes.
I think at that point, Roone Arledge and the other executives at ABC said, hey, this kid really has something. We know we brought him in too soon to be an anchor, but he really has it.
In 1983, Jennings returned to New York and became sole anchor of ABC World News Tonight. At his peak, 14 million viewers watched him every night. But Jennings still enjoyed reporting from the field. He conducted the last interview with Saddam before the first Gulf War. He literally caught the last plane out.
Have you been speaking to one another?
And he covered the brutal siege of Sarajevo.
As one of the worst attacks since this war began.
In the end, the trench coats and flak jackets always gave way to the anchor desk, where Jennings had perhaps his finest moment during the coverage of September 11th, on air for 25 hours straight.
So if you're a parent, you got a kid in some other part of the country, call them up.
Jennings was anchor at a historic time in world and television history. The internet and cable news is chopping away at network news ratings, and he may well be one of the last of the great anchors.
His career traced the evolution of television news from its heady days of civil rights and the Kennedy assassination and the moon landing to its troubled days today when it's simply a business unit of a giant corporation. You will never see the like of Peter Jennings again.
Peter Jennings died on Sunday in New York at age 67. Murray Oliver, CTV News, Washington.